Introduction of the couple. Ayan and Zara appeared to be the perfect couple, two souls deeply connected by love, laughter, and a shared vision for the future. Their relationship had blossomed naturally, beginning with casual conversations and gradually evolving into something meaningful. Friends often admired the way they looked at each other, how their presence alone seemed to calm the chaos of the world around them. They weren't just in love, they were partners in every sense, encouraging each other's dreams, celebrating small victories, and supporting each other through life's challenges. Ayan, a kind-hearted and ambitious young man, found in Zara a rare mix of grace, intelligence, and depth. Zara, gentle yet strong, was drawn to Ayan's warmth and sincerity. They had begun talking seriously about marriage, browsing through future home ideas, and discussing potential names for their children. It felt right, destined even. They often spoke about honesty being the foundation of their relationship. Zara loved Ayan too much to build a life with secrets, even though a part of her trembled at the thought of revealing her past. As their bond deepened, she knew the time was approaching when her truth would have to come to light, and with it, the test of their love. Moments of closeness. Ayan and Zara shared a bond that felt effortless, like two pieces of a puzzle finally finding their place. Whether it was quiet coffee dates on rainy afternoons or late-night drives filled with deep conversations, their moments together were drenched in intimacy and comfort. They laughed over silly jokes, created memories during spontaneous road trips, and often lost track of time while talking about everything and nothing. Zara would often rest her head on Ayan's shoulder while they watched the stars, and he would gently hold her hand as if making a silent promise to never let go. They shared their childhood stories, personal fears, and wildest dreams. Each moment spent together wove another thread into the fabric of their relationship. The idea of forever had slowly started to take shape. They browsed through wedding Pinterest boards, playfully debated honeymoon destinations, and even imagined what their future kids might look like. Zara, once guarded, found herself opening up more with every passing day. It was in these moments, small but powerful, that their love grew stronger. Yet beneath Zara's glowing smile was a quiet tension, a secret buried in her past that she knew she couldn't keep hidden forever. Hints of a hidden past. As their relationship deepened, Ayan began to notice subtle changes in Zara's behavior. While she remained loving and supportive, there were moments when her eyes carried a distant look, as if haunted by memories she had never shared. Sometimes, in the middle of a joyful conversation, her smile would falter, and a shadow would briefly cross her face before she quickly masked it with a laugh. Zara would occasionally avoid certain topics, questions about her past relationships, her college years, or even certain places in the city. When Ayan gently probed, she would change the subject or offer vague answers, her tone guarded. He didn't press her, respecting her space, but the feeling that something remained unsaid lingered like an invisible wall between them. Late at night, when Ayan spoke about complete honesty and building a life without secrets, Zara's silence would speak louder than any words. She seemed torn, as though a part of her wanted to speak, while another part feared what the truth might do to what they had built. These small cracks, though subtle, began to grow more noticeable. And deep inside, Ayan started to sense that Zara was carrying a story, one that might change everything. The confession scene. It was a quiet evening, the kind where the silence felt heavier than words. Zara had been distant all day, lost in thought, her fingers nervously fidgeting with the edge of her scarf. Ayan noticed, but chose not to press. He knew something was coming, and he wanted her to take her time. As they sat on the balcony, city lights flickering in the distance, Zara took a deep breath, her voice trembling as she broke the stillness. "Ayan," she began, her eyes fixed on the horizon. "There's something I need to tell you, something I should have said long ago." Ayan turned to her, his face calm but attentive. "I'm listening," he said gently. Zara struggled to find the right words. Her past wasn't something she wore openly. It was something she had buried, hoping it would never resurface. But tonight, love demanded truth. "I wasn't always the person you know now," she whispered. There's a part of my life I regret deeply, a time when I made choices out of pain, not wisdom. She spoke slowly, tears brimming, revealing the story she had kept hidden, of a broken relationship, betrayal, and the shame that followed. When she finally looked at Ayan, her heart sank. He was silent, expressionless. Details of her past. Zara's voice wavered as she opened the doors to a chapter of her life she had long kept locked away. Years ago, before Ayan, she had fallen in love with someone who promised her the world, but slowly turned it into a prison. What began as a whirlwind romance spiraled into a toxic relationship marked by manipulation, emotional abuse, and betrayal. I was young, naive, desperate to be loved, she admitted, her eyes fixed on the floor. He isolated me from friends, made me feel like I was never enough. I stayed, thinking things would change, but they never did. She spoke of nights filled with tears, of walking on eggshells, of slowly losing herself. Eventually, she found the courage to leave, but not without scars. Her past wasn't just a painful memory, it was a weight she carried, a part of herself she had tried to rebuild ever since. I made mistakes too, she confessed. In my pain, I became someone I didn't recognize. Bitter, withdrawn. People judged me. Some still do. Her voice cracked. I didn't want to hide this from you, Ayan, but I was terrified. Terrified you'd see me differently. And in that moment, her truth hung in the air, raw, vulnerable, and real, and... His initial reaction. Ayan sat still, his eyes fixed on Zara, yet his expression unreadable. The words she had spoken hung heavily between them, echoing in his mind like a storm he couldn't quiet. He had always seen her as strong, composed, almost unshakable. But now, this revelation painted a different picture. Not weaker, but wounded. Human. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came. His thoughts were tangled, part disbelief, part heartbreak, part confusion. This wasn't the Zara he had imagined. The woman before him had lived through pain he couldn't fully understand. Zara watched him anxiously, her hands clenched tightly in her lap. The silence was suffocating. She had expected tears, anger, maybe even forgiveness, but not this cold, stunned stillness. Ayan stood up slowly, walked a few steps away, and looked out into the night. His heart was torn. He still cared for her, deeply, but everything he thought he knew about their relationship had just shifted. I need time, he finally said, his voice low, distant. This is a lot. Zara's heart sank. She had bared her soul, and all she could do now was wait, hoping love would be stronger than shock. But part of her already feared it wouldn't be. His decision to walk away days passed in heavy silence, and though Ayan tried to process everything, the weight of Zara's past kept clouding his thoughts. He cared for her deeply, but the truth she revealed had unsettled the foundation of their relationship. The ideal future they had dreamed about suddenly felt uncertain, fragile. One evening, Ayan sat Zara down, his face solemn but resolute. I've thought about this a lot, he began quietly. I respect your honesty, and I admire your strength for sharing what you did. But I'm struggling to move past it. It's not about judging you, it's about what I'm feeling inside. Zara's heart pounded, sensing what was coming, but unwilling to accept it. I want to be the person who stands by you no matter what, Ayan continued, but right now, I don't know if I can. I need to step away to figure things out, for both our sakes. With tears in her eyes, Zara nodded, understanding the pain behind his words, but feeling utterly shattered. As he walked away, the distance between them grew, not just in miles, but in the hope they once shared. Sometimes love isn't enough to overcome the shadows of the past. Her emotional breakdown. After Ayan walked away, Zara was left alone in the quiet of their once shared space, the weight of rejection pressing down on her chest. Tears flowed freely as the reality of what had just happened sank in. The love she had nurtured, the dreams they built together, all seemed to crumble in an instant. She felt exposed and vulnerable, as if every scar she carried was suddenly magnified. "I told him everything," she whispered to herself, voice trembling. "Was I wrong to be honest? Was I not enough?" The questions spiraled relentlessly in her mind, each one cutting deeper than the last. She wondered if she was destined to be judged forever for the mistakes of her past, if anyone could truly accept her for who she was now. The pain wasn't just heartbreak, it was a crushing loneliness, a fear that she would never find the unconditional love she longed for. Memories of the toxic relationship she had escaped flashed through her mind, now compounded by the fresh wound of abandonment. But beneath the tears, a tiny spark remained, a fragile hope that someday someone would see her strength instead of her past and love her without hesitation. Reflection on judgment and love. Zara's story is a powerful reminder of how judgment can shape, and sometimes shatter, our chances at love. Society often clings to labels and past mistakes, forgetting that people are more than the sum of their histories. Her experience shows how fear and prejudice can create barriers between two hearts, even when love is genuine and deep. True love, the story suggests, is about acceptance, embracing someone's whole being, including their scars and flaws. It challenges the idea that a person's worth is defined by their past, instead, highlighting the courage it takes to be vulnerable and honest. Ayan's struggle reflects how difficult it can be to reconcile love with preconceived notions, and how sometimes, even the strongest feelings aren't enough to overcome internal fears. At its core, the story asks difficult questions. Can love truly forgive and forget? How do we balance empathy with our own emotional boundaries? And what happens when the past refuses to stay buried? Ultimately, Zara's journey is one of resilience, a search for a love that sees beyond judgment, and the hope that acceptance will one day triumph over fear. Open or tragic ending. The story closes on a quiet, uncertain note. Ayan's footsteps fade into the distance, leaving Zara standing alone at the crossroads of heartbreak and hope. The door between them remains ajar, not fully closed, yet not fully open either. The future hangs in delicate balance, leaving the audience wondering, will Ayan find the strength to return, embracing Zara with understanding and forgiveness? Or will the weight of her past keep them forever apart? Zara, though shattered, begins to discover her own strength. The pain of rejection forces her to confront her fears, but also sparks a journey of self-love and healing. She starts to rebuild her life on her own terms, learning that acceptance must come from within before it can come from anyone else. The ending leaves space for interpretation. Love might yet reunite them, or it might become the catalyst for Zara's transformation into a stronger, more independent woman. Either way, the story resists easy closure, reminding us that real life rarely offers neat resolutions. Sometimes the bravest act is to let go and face the unknown, carrying hope as both a shield and a guide.